Are you a worshiper? Moses said unto the people, Fear you not, stand still, see the salvation of the Lord which he shall show you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, ye shall see them again no more. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right and on the left. In the passage we just read, you find God's people coming into an incredible dark storm. A whole night of panic and despair. A dark night. Worshippers are not made in revival meetings. Worshippers are not made in good times. Worshippers are not made when the devil's fleeing from you. Worshippers are not made when you're in victory or in good health. Worshippers are made in dark, stormy nights. And how we respond in that dark, stormy night. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both sons of Joseph and worshipped, leaning upon the top of his staff. Now here's an old man. He has been through one storm after another. He has gone through pain and sorrow and agony in his flesh and in his family with his children. He's worshiping because he's looking back over the faithfulness of God. God has always been faithful until my last breath. He will be faithful to me. God is faithful. That is a worshiper. Has come to the conclusion, no matter what I go through, no matter what storms, God has proven himself faithful. One victory after another, one test after another. And God brought me out of this one. He brought me out of that one. All these years, God has brought me out. Times I thought I would collapse. Times I thought it was all over. God brought me through. God brought me through. Leaning on that staff saying, God, you are faithful. God's interest is not just in delivering you from a problem or a crisis, but in the process to make you a true worshiper. That you would come out of that trial, you would come out of that dark night as a true worshiper. God set up this whole episode that we just read about. The Lord told Moses, turn and encamp between Migdol and the sea, and ye shall encamp by the sea. It was God who put them there. And they are rejoicing because they have tasted freedom for the first time. There's going to be a promised land waiting for you. And they're all excited about it. What a wonderful time it is when you've been saved and you're rejoicing and you're going on and the sun is shining. You're living on the promises of God. And at the point of their greatest peace, at the point of their greatest hour, enjoying freedom and laying hold of the promises of God, the devil comes seeking to devour them. Bad news. Terrifying news. After all these years of bondage, after all the pain we've been through, why would God allow us to face more pain? When does this end? Fear not. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. That's the Word of God. The Lord shall fight for you. You shall hold your peace. These things are not just stories told in the Bible. This is God speaking truth to help us through our storms. And it's not just one storm, folks. God allows these storms, but He has a divine purpose in it. God's one goal is that He would have worshipers. Not just fellowship, but true worship. It's night now and darkness has come down over the camp. The beginning of a dark, stormy night. An angel of the Lord was sent. And that angel stood between the devil and God's people. Pharaoh and his army are in total darkness. They can't move. They can't attack. In the middle of the night, all night long. Why does God allow us to go so long? And why such threatening, horrifying moments? They're screaming, wait till morning. You're dead. Your family, your children. It's all over. You're going down. We're coming after you. Have you ever heard those voices from the other side of the dark wall? It's the enemy trying to defeat God's divine purposes. You're under attack, but in no danger. God is not in the business of making the devil's lies come to pass. If they just come outside the tent and look down at the sea, the wind is starting to open up a path. A mighty walls are rising. God is making a way. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, The Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night. Now get those words, all that night. And so they wake up the next day and are commanded to walk through on dry ground. Right in the middle of those walls, that's when God tests them. Will you become a worshiper? And he said, I've got to have a people who believe that I will do them only good. The Apostle Paul, he said, never die unto the Lord. He said, I'd rather go to be with him. Abraham, the father of these people, said, I'm looking for a city whose builder and maker is God. And if these people in the middle of their trials and the fears and uncertainties, and folks, the days that are ahead, God must have a people that are at rest, that have entered the rest of God. Live or die, I'm the Lord's. If you lose your fear of death, the devil cannot touch you anymore. He cannot hurt you anymore. A dead man doesn't fear anything. But 3 days later, they're at Marah, murmuring and complaining, where's the water? Why has God brought us out here to kill us? They were not worshipers. They didn't learn their lesson in the hard time. They didn't learn their lesson in the storm. You come to that dark night, and the wind is blowing, and the enemy is throwing accusations, all lies. And he said, you lay everything in my hand now. That's the day I became a worshiper, saying, God, you're faithful. But I'm worshiping God when I can look at anything that comes into my life and say, God, you're faithful. I am not going to be shaken in my faith because my God is faithful.